Hello everyone, welcome back to RCH Builders. Back down here again. It's been only 2 weeks since I mowed the lawn, and I should have brought the lawnmower with me today. It's been raining like crazy around here, so which is good and bad. It means I gotta mow the lawn, but otherwise, I mean, it's good for stuff growing. I brought the dump trailer today, so I'm gonna try and get this trash bag. There's some trash there from where, remember when we ripped off the bottom of the back of the house to put that tie joist in that video. So just I'll bring that with me to try and get that. And I want to get all of these pipes and the other, I think there's a few other pieces of metal down there. I'm gonna try to throw them. There's some wire up there. So gonna try to clean it up, take it over to another job where there's a bunch of metal. Because my father's going to be coming out there with a trailer to collect some scrap metal and take it to the scrapyard at some point. So he's planning on doing that Saturday. This is Wednesday, so I'm going to try to get as much of it, I say, be this, all that. Metal pipes means I won't have to keep walking around it. This whole tub is full of wire and a few other pieces of metal, so I'll just get it out of here, and then that way he can take it with him. But other than that, other than cleaning up that mess, I have brought the transit level with me today. So we've got some sand here still. Hopefully we will get maybe at least 1 or 2 more piers done. I think there's only 2 more left that go under this beam. Of course, the first day I did these 2 here. The second day I did those 2 down there. But my goal hopefully will be to set this beam, shim this beam. We want to put down our pressure treated plate and then shim it and use the transit level to make sure we get level. I don't know that I'm wanting to level it this way all the way down through. That's part of why I brought the transit level. The reason being is because on these older homes like this, that wall back there, it may not be quite level. Sometimes there might be slight sag. It's not noticeable. It's very close. But a lot of these older homes are technically have no foundation under, footing under their foundation, which is part of the reason why the old piers were falling over and not good, because there was no foundation under them. They're just sitting on top of this red clay. This clay is very hard, but it's still not the same as a 2 foot by 2 foot by 1 foot rock, basically, which is what you're creating with the concrete footing for the foundation. So, with that being the case, I'm probably going to level it from back there to here at different intervals, basically where each of the piers are, and go with that, as opposed to simply trying to level it dead across here, because that will become noticeable. There'll be humps in the floor versus leaving it with the rear. The middle is what sagged. The rear has, if it's sagged at all, it has very minor sags there. So anyways, we'll get to that, but I think before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and try and clean up some so that we have a more easier area to work. So probably just I'm going to throw it on hyperlapse and we'll try and get all this trash out of here real quick. All right, so at least that's the majority of the trash. and that metal right there. So make it a lot easier to get in there. When I was trying to carry that sand in there at the end of the day the other day, I tripped over all that metal. So definitely want to get it out of there. I generally like to keep my jobs fairly clean, but sometimes, especially when you're working by yourself, you just kind of try and go with what you can get done real quickly sometimes. So what I'm going to do now is I found, I think, 6 empty buckets. So I'm just going to, while it's still early and I haven't got my back all sore from being bent over all day, I'm going to go ahead and probably fill all 6 buckets up with sand real quick and take them up underneath there. So that's what I'm going to do next, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Alright, so now you probably noticed me pulling a bunch of wood out of the back of the trailer before I threw trash in there. And it was just leftover wood, again, from the winery project, or the wine tasting facility. So, but it should work good for doing the shims out here. So otherwise, it probably would just be thrown away. I also have a couple pieces of, right here, it's 2x6s pressure treated that have the, still have the vapor barrier on the back of them. Those would have came out from where we cut out for those big double doors at the winery project. So with that being those will work good for the plates that need to go on top of these brick to create the vapor barrier there. So first thing that I'm going to do is try and get y'all hopefully where you can see at least a little bit for these two, and then we'll go from there. I'm probably going to try to set up the transit for these two. I'm probably going to set it up kind of high, and the first point I'm going to probably adjust is at that right there where it's touching that joist. I'm going to try and see if that's good. If that is good, or depending on what it is, then I'll probably adjust these accordingly. I should be able to put the 2x6 down and then shim up from there. I've got some pieces of 3/4, some pieces of, this is 3/4 here, this is 5/8. There's a bunch of other 3/4 boards, and then I also got some 7/16 here, and I have some regular shims as well, plastic shims. So we should have plenty to be able to do what we need to do and get it exactly where we want it. So, and I grabbed everything out that I should need except for a tape measure, so I'll be right back. Alright, let's try this again. So should be about 16 inches. Yeah, it's just under 16. That's generally pretty standard on them. Doesn't have to be exact. I prefer them not to hang over, because then it doesn't create an issue with hitting stuff. So I'm gonna do 15. Okay. Now that over there we already know is good because it's touching, so we don't have to worry about that. Later, we're going to want to put it down this low after we get these two where we want them. Just to get a general idea. So according to this, that needs to come up just a little bit, not much at all. So that's what I was talking about as far as the fact that this wall itself has probably sunk a little bit. So based off this, there is about a ¾ inch drop from there to here. It's very minor really in the grand scheme of things, but still that makes a difference. All right, that looks pretty much the same there. All right, so if we get this in, we should be able to, once we measure this difference and put it on there and then lower it down onto them. It's going to compress it just a hair. And right now we've got about an 1/8 inch more than we need. So when it compresses it, we should be very close. At least way closer than it was for sure. So I'm going to press down as hard as I can. Looks like I can put a piece of 3/4 in there. And this one needs a piece of 5/8. So, the ones that go on top of those don't need to be pressure treated. So we can use this other material we've got. Nice tight fit. This one, because of the way that stuff's expanded, might be too tight. I'm going to need to jack it up a hair just to get that in. Just whack the tar out of my hand. Oh well. Then we should be able to let it down onto there. I'm going to go ahead and remove this jack. Did pretty good. Go. All right, now we need to pick it up onto that one level because of the fact that all the weight is bearing right here, and it's technically going from here all the way to the front, so the weight is going like this. So it's picked up from there, but it'll set back down once we get the other one in place. So I'm gonna have to reset everything up for that. All right, so now we're gonna try to get them on this next one here. That should help it span across here. It's still gonna sag some right here, but we'll be able to jack it up there and fix that later. So you can actually see a gap between, I don't know if you can see it on there. I'm gonna turn this on real quick. But I don't know if you can see it on there, but I can see a gap between the beam and the floor joist right above that pier. So I mean it's not even touching up the floor joist and the drop beam. It's not even touching there right now, which is good for us. It's fine. See what we gotta do real quick, how far up it's supposed to be in relation to over here. Yeah, that needs to go up a lot. Almost a whole ½ inch from where it is right now. That should be good. All right, we're there, but we want to go a little bit past. All right. Now, what do I do? Set my tape measure back there. Let's find out what we need. Y'all could have told me it was right behind me. Just kidding. Let's see. I got 7/8, and so we can at least put a piece of 3/4. We'll put that in and see. We might be able to do a little more, which will mean we'll want to use shims. That looks better. We're now within a 3/16, about an 1/8 inch, so that should be good. But I got a piece of 3/8 I'm gonna put up under there. That is very, very close. So as far as dead level, you can see it constantly goes uphill. All right, next one. Try and see roughly how far off we are. It's about a 1/4 inch more than what it is right now. Means it needs to be at least 2.5. All right, so now that we get that done to that point, next thing I guess is going to be to try to go ahead and do the brick for the other 2 piers on the side, I guess. I of course got the one up there started from last week, basically just the bottom set. But I think I'm going to just go ahead because it's the one that's here in the middle. I'm going to focus on this one first so I can at least get this one done. The other one's closer to the exit. Just all the ones I can get farthest away just makes more sense to me because then I don't have to go in underneath as far. With this being jacked up where it's supposed to be, there's actually a lot of the boards on that middle beam that are not even touching anymore. So, which is kind of good. We'll see what we do to adjust that as we go along. But that'll make it easier to replace that beam later. Just where they've sagged over time and then now they're picked back up. All right, so my phone died. I believe after it died, I'd maybe did 2 or 3 more rows, or 2 and a partial rows of the brick. But so next time I come down, it's getting pretty late anyways, I'll finish that pier. Depending on what day it is, we'll see. But either way, finish that pier. Hopefully we'll get that other beam up going down through this side and in place, so we can start doing those piers. And then we'll be able to get to this after that. But I mean, that one at least sitting down on top of the piers that are built, that's one thing down and nice. We'll just have to set it on the other 2 once they're completely finished, which we might be able to set it on the one that I've completely did when I come down the next time. We'll see. But otherwise, I think that's going to be it for today. So, hope you've enjoyed watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section. That helps YouTube's algorithm push the video, so we can get more subscribers and show more content, more stuff that y'all hopefully will enjoy and hopefully might be able to learn something from at least. Yeah, I'll see you the next time.